Patrick Lee and Ravi Kumara. Welcome.
So before we start, can you please ensure that you have the handouts? There's a poster and also PAKARAMIS, which we will cover shortly. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the world of digital transformation. Artificial intelligence is defined as machines mimicking human behaviors or intelligence, focusing on cognitive abilities and decision-making processes. Now, with this understanding, we embarked on a journey for 13 weeks called Project PAKARAMIS. The research title, Empowering Through Generative AI in Higher Education. Team members, Mimi, Research Lead, Khan, Project Lead, Patrick, Data Lead, and myself, Ravi, Team Lead. Our supervisors, Professor Dharmendra and Dr. Zia. The requirement for the project is to integrate generative AI in higher education curriculum design. And it was further narrowed down to a case study of research methodology during curriculum. Now let's look at the landscape of AI and bring your attention to the left. Generative AI uses deep learning, neural network, and machine learning algorithms and models. ChatGPT is AI-powered large language model created by OpenAI. GPT-4, Generative Pre-trained Transformer 4, powers Microsoft Bing AI, which is the fastest growing user base out of company, made accessible and available for public use. Hence the reason we chose this tool for our research. As of October 2023, there are no co-designed curriculum for higher education generated by GPT-4, to our best knowledge.
In the conduct of our research, the PAKARAMIS framework sits at the heart. It is an innovative framework that we established through an extensive literature review, industry best practices, and an online training course for prompt engineering. It is critical to optimize the prompt to produce the quality results from ChatGPT, and the PAKARAMIS was validated as effective through an iterative feedback loop process within our research. Each acronym stands for the principle of prompt engineering, and please refer to your handout for the detailed information. So the research was conducted in two phases. In phase 1, we provided control variables through PAKARAMIS into ChatGPT and produced a baseline curriculum for the research methodology unit. In phase 2, with this base curriculum, we have identified 5 different independent variables that will affect curriculum design. And we provided them through PAKARAMIS into ChatGPT, and now we have 10 different curricula for the research methodology unit. This process was generalized into the framework, and we call it GPT-4 Co-Designed Curriculum Framework. It is what we recommend as the best practice for curriculum design with ChatGPT, and theoretically, it can be applied to any unit's curriculum design. As a result, we introduced 2 innovative frameworks, PAKARAMIS for prompt engineering and GPT-4 Co-Designed Curriculum Framework. We also presented 10 different curricula for the research methodology unit and a concept of GUI for the personalized using. All of this could be done with a subscription fee of $22, which is less than 1% of $20 billion of annual higher education budget in the Department of Education.
Extending from Mimi's explanation, investing in PAKARAMIS leads to future work as listed. First of all, optimization of content, which means minimizing replication of learning outcome. Personalized learning, which correlates and corresponds to individual needs and interests, which in turn enhances student engagement. And above all, indigenization of curriculum, which is missing in the current research methodology unit curriculum. Benjamin Franklin once said, and I quote, "An investment in education pays the highest return." With that quote, we recommend to all educators and educational designers to embrace generative AI and empower the human agent in co-designing higher curriculum for universities. With that, the example set by our supervisors, we would like to urge University of Canberra to take the lead. We were given 13 weeks and we created PAKARAMIS. Give us 13 months. Through education, we will change the world. Thank you.
And now we'll be open to your questions. And in the meantime, we'll also have our conversation we had with GPT-4, following PAKARAMIS framework, play in the background, just when you guys give me out questions.
Really good presentation. Thanks for that. So the first silly question before I go to this serious one: did you use any AI, generative AI, to design your slides or the graphics?
The answer to that is no.
All right. So you talked about the future and expanding the research framework onto designing curriculum, but what about expanding beyond the university sector? Like, how have you thought about that? Have you thought about how it would integrate? How will you commercialize that? Because you did talk about commercials a little bit.
That's a very good question. Before commercializing, now, like I said, Benjamin Franklin said, invest in education and it pays the highest return. So it all has to start with education, through education. Even though this has not been tested and validated as a curriculum design part, it has to start from the university. From here, it will be a proving ground for us to develop beyond that. Now, looking at the opportunities in terms of commercializing that, we have seen keywords everywhere, which is an extension tool that is already available. However, proving ground in terms of building curriculum will strengthen the AI and also the elements of models, algorithms, in terms of strengthening building curriculum. Now, this same technique of iteration of process into framework could be extended to any other work processes that will incorporate AI. So we have thought about it, but it has to start with education in the university, at the university level.
I can just quickly add more. So when it comes to financial perspective, like we said, it's actually delegating the process part to the AI. So human agent comes in the first and the last as an evaluator and as an input. But we can delegate all this process part to the AI. So there comes the reduction in financial perspective. There will be a lot of saving there. So from starting from education, this framework actually can be applied in many other industries. That's what we prospect.
So making the efficiency of the curriculum design will also be generating more students to come in and be personalized and engaging in an activity that would expand in the educational industry, if that makes sense.
I'm just watching the demo and it's just surprising. So I guess the question is, this is an efficiency play. You're saving people who are designing courses or coming up with a curriculum time basically, and you're hoping to do the same across the university. Have you actually looked at how much time these conveners are actually spending and how much time you think you'll save?
You saying that if we do this, how much we are going to be saving? Is that your question?
Yeah, I'm trying to understand so if it's an efficiency play, how efficient is it? Do you still need someone to go back over it and say, hey, does this comply with whatever the regulation is to be a unit? What's the business case for a university to adopt this?
Right, before any of the members would like to add on to this, like I mentioned, 13 weeks, there is a story behind this. Before we go into that, more of the time was actually spent looking at the science of prompt engineering. So if we want to really go beyond that, we actually haven't had the time, but if you give us 13 months, like I said, through education, we will change the world. But probably...
If I may add on to his answer and to answer your question, We did not look into exactly how much time we could save once this would be implemented. Because first we need an evaluation if this framework actually provides an applicable curriculum. So as it was seen in our framework, human agent, which is educational designer, they come in at first and at the end as an evaluator and validator of this process and framework works as an output. So and after that, it has to be put into a process to make it more efficient, so then we can understand how much time can be saved for an educational design.
It looks fantastic. Are there any downsides?
Well, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? We're still discovering the strength of the whole AI itself. The downside is something I think it has to come in the future as we progress. In terms of this uniqueness of PAKARAMIS is that it is actually trying to address every single element that has been missing in terms of literature review and also any sources out there in terms of prompt engineering. Now, we are in the process of actually working towards strengthening this. The downside is something we still have to discover, probably, and it is a continuous process in that sense. And that is a million-dollar question, actually. Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, no? Yes. I can have, oh look, there's so many questions. I'm going to just let one, we're actually over our time, but I'm just going to have one question. Who am I going to have it from? I think this, yeah.
Oh, thank you.
This young man was first.
Thank you. My question is, how did you test and quantify that someone using PAKARAMIS obtains better results than someone who doesn't?
All right, so to answer that question, we actually tested without giving it any restriction, per se. At first, if we just give out this unit, research methodology, I believe that everyone here, your IT student, you have done it. You'll recommend you using programming languages to do this unit. But once we add in the context of this research, which is enhancing student experience and engagement to this unit, it takes that away. So that shows us kind of the first hint of why giving a context and other parameters is really important when it comes to prompting questions, not just asking whatever you want to ask GPT.
Okay, I'm just going to have to wind up the questions, but I think perhaps while the judges are considering their final verdicts, you might like to engage with the with this group informally in the lecture room as well, and with any of the other groups that you've had today. Could we just have one more round of applause for all of them? Presented today. Now I'm going to